Some yoga schools also recommend that you simply do not tense up in order to relax. This is just talk, and it doesn't work today. This is not meditation. This is reflection, contemplation. You can't do what these schools advise because it's just an imitation of the meditation you strive for. The same is with lighting incense sticks, putting on beautiful music, sitting in Jnana Mudra, which you are doing wrong. You are not meditating, you are imitating. In Kriya Yoga, I teach the method of scientific concentration. My understanding is that meditation is the mind's ability to focus on a high idea. It takes some time to master this, and you find yourself in it. Good afternoon, Master. Can we talk about meditation today? Let us start with a simple question, or a difficult one for many of us. What is meditation? Today, just about anything is sometimes called meditation. All sorts of visualizations, concentration, various forms of reflection, and so on. Will you tell us what is meditation and what isn't? My understanding is that meditation is the mind's ability to focus on a high idea. In this case, when we speak of meditation, I believe it means communication with the Creator within oneself. It is communicating with one's higher self, or being close to the higher self. Meditation is the ability to go beyond the confines of the mind. No thoughts exist within meditation. When you are having a routine thinking, you are not meditating. When you are having any thoughts, you are not meditating. Meditation is the ability to remain focused on a high idea until it fully manifests itself in one's consciousness, beyond the ordinary mind. We examine that which is a high idea, and we gradually become this idea. There are two types of meditation. One is when you examine an idea and get absorbed in it. And the second is a type of meditation is where there is no idea, and you go beyond the limits of your mind. It is perfect emptiness. It is sometimes called meditation on emptiness, and you find yourself in it. Two options. Put simply, meditation is convening with the Creator within yourself, with the Creator or with your higher self, which actually is one and the same. Many techniques are called meditation, including visualizations and reflections. Are they to some extent also a kind of meditation? They are the basic states required to go into meditation. When you read a book or someone tells you to close your eyes, sit up straight, feel this or that, imagine that you are in a certain place, etc. This is not meditation. This is reflection, contemplation, maybe experiencing certain images. Meditation is pure consciousness, beyond the workings of the mind. What you are talking about is the beginning, a way for the person to concentrate. But as a rule, meditation just happens. A person may not have even tried. They just live their life, and all of a sudden, it happens. And it leaves them amazed. Because in this state of consciousness, one enters a different state, a different dimension, a different level of perception. A person experiences the world differently and perceives themselves in the world in a completely different way. This is a tiny first stage of meditation, a meditative state, in which a person can still think. But this is just the beginning. The more you do it, the deeper the experience becomes, and it captivates and overtakes you. Because meditation is the Creator who manifests Himself. It's a vivid something. It's a state that cannot be described in any way. We try to convey it through words, but it's not possible. How is concentration different from meditation? And one more question right away. Is observation the same as meditation, or is it something else? Let's start with observation. When you observe someone or something closely, you are partially concentrating, more like contemplating. Because in the middle of observation, you are also thinking about the object you are observing. You contemplate the events that are unfolding. But you are able to do it. You have to concentrate on these events. You have to follow them. And therefore, you apply the power of dharana, the power of concentration. That's why this is not really pure concentration. It is rather contemplation with elements of concentration. If you stop contemplating and tune into concentration and concentration only, then you go from contemplation to dharana. So what is concentration, meditation, and samadhi? Concentration is your dharana, your power of focus on one idea, which is defined in terms of time by uninterrupted, solid 12 seconds. 12 seconds of pure concentration, pure dharana, without any side thoughts, distractions, comparisons, and so on. Pure perception of the object to which you have directed your power of concentration. Pure 12 seconds. This is one dharana. When those 12 seconds are multiplied by 12, that's 144 seconds. Then meditation happens. You gradually begin to perceive the object of your meditation. You become someone who comes closer to it. Perceiving this object is straightforward. You do not compare it with anything or contemplate its meaning. It is not thinking, not reflecting. It's not the work of your thoughts or your mind. It is all pure perception. Such perception means that you know a whole lot about this object. But in yoga, full understanding is usually referred to as samyama, a state when you become one with it. It is a higher stage. So 12 multiplied by 12 is 144 seconds of meditation, of comprehending your object. Your consciousness converges with whatever you have been concentrating on. Then 12 is multiplied by 144, and then the state of samadhi is achieved. Samadhi is a state where for 28.5 minutes approximately, give or take a few seconds, you are working towards dissipating in this high idea or this object, and you reach a state that is beyond even the state of meditation. This is what is called samadhi. So, it all comes down to the 12 seconds of pure consciousness that you're able to sustain. Usually after 2 or 3 seconds, after 6, 7 seconds at the most, the mind starts to wander. Some people who practice concentration realize that every 6 seconds the mind starts jumping around. It cannot last any longer. So the task is to chain it to the body through sensations and teach it to think or to feel only what you are supposed to think or feel. Meditation happens and samadhi happens. It's essentially our natural, normal state. But we prioritize the mind, which compares things all the time. This is good, this is bad, I feel good, I don't feel good, and so on. What is the best thing to concentrate on in order for meditation to happen as quickly as possible? For meditation to happen, I recommend that you concentrate on feeling your body from your toes to your head, keeping your eyes in Shambhavi mudra, or between your brows, and holding your tongue in Gachari mudra, if you can do it. Otherwise, work on it. Feel the forehead, the back of your head, the spine. This way, you will already be on the path to entering a state of silence and peace. Eventually, the energization of the body that happens at this moment will carry you along. You will reduce the distance between the mind and the body, go beyond the mind and the body, and then meditation will happen. This is the scientific method of achieving the state beyond the ego. Meditation is a state beyond the ego. As I mentioned earlier, to enter the state of meditation, it is enough to at least keep the eyes in the correct position gazing through the center of the forehead, and you can begin to meditate. To do this, you need to keep your eyes from shifting. By fixing your gaze upward, you are able to enter this state very quickly. Even this alone is a way to achieve it. In Kriya Yoga, I teach the method of scientific concentration, which uses the technique of energization and working with the consciousness. That also includes lifting your gaze, holding the tongue back, Kichari Mudra, concentrating on the vessel of transcendental power. It takes some time to master this. Some yoga schools recommend that you simply relax and be in the moment, here and now. Supposedly, it creates a state of peace and relaxation and solves all of life's problems, especially those related to the workings of the mind. Is that really so? Can you comment on these techniques? Some yoga schools also recommend that you simply do not tense up in order to relax. This is just talk, and it doesn't work today. Because as soon as you try to relax, some part of you will start to tense up, and vice versa. That's why it doesn't work in this case. You will spend your life trying to persuade your mind not to interfere with your relaxation. At best, people end up falling asleep right away. 5 minutes into such yoga nidra, you hear snoring all over the room. I've seen it many times. It happens because people don't have enough power of concentration. As soon as you try to relax in Shavasana, you fall asleep, because this is a normal reaction. This is the first element of Yoga Nidra, and often the last one too. It takes a lot of work to be able to control the mind. You can't do what these schools advise because it's just an imitation of the meditation you strive for. The same is with lighting incense sticks, putting on beautiful music, sitting in Jnana Mudra, which you are doing wrong. It's not the way it works. It's the same with the advice you get from some schools to concentrate your consciousness on the tip of your nose. It's also wrong. No one talks about it. Our task is to take control of prana, the life force, and through it reach the level of comprehension of cosmic consciousness. In order to take control of prana, the life force, we need to take control of the functions of the body, of our breath, and our mind. Through the same practice of scientific concentration, Kriya. Let all other schools keep trying. How many years does it take to calm the mind? And you know how often people tell me that having spent 6 months in deep sadhana, one day they go through a stressful moment and are instantly drained of all their energy. Just one moment, and there go 6 months of one's life. Can you also comment on the techniques that help us develop the senses, such as sight, hearing, the sensitivity of the body, and so on? Supposedly, through the use of these techniques, a person enters a high degree of concentration and may periodically go into meditation. In order for your eyes to see well, you need to stop polluting your body. And you should work with the energy channels. Sight, hearing, sense of smell, taste, and touch are the 5 senses that connect us with the external world. If you want to see well, both far and near, you need to exercise your eyes, your eye muscles. For your eyes to see well, you have to stop contaminating your body both mentally and physically through your diet. It's better to live in a nice, clean place. But right now, who can afford it? Actually, it can be done. Or you have to somehow compensate for all the energy you lose and spend for the contamination of your body. For example, by cleansing the body, by practicing yoga, for all of this to work well, to make sure that your 5 senses or 5 organ systems work well, you must always keep your energy channels fit. Your channels must work perfectly. Energy should flow easily through them. Let's say your hearing is failing. You go see a doctor to figure out why your hearing organs are no longer working right. The doctor tries to examine them and find out what's wrong, but actually, the problem is with your kidneys. And this is already known. Chinese doctors talk about it, Tibetan doctors, and Ayurvedic doctors talk about it too. It's the same thing with eyesight. When a person's eyesight is deteriorating, they need their liver cleansed. Everything is interlinked. So as you cleanse your body, you will see, hear, etc. Just work on yourself. But if we're talking about seeing beyond the physical eyesight, when the limited sector perception through the visual center becomes limitless, then you have to look deep inside yourself, hear within yourself. Meditation on sound and light. You will be able to see beyond normal vision and hear beyond the normal sense of hearing. Perception, sensory qualities are all about neuronal development. Develop your brain, then you will begin to feel at a distance. Anticipate at the very least. Can we say that Kriya meditation, or rather the scientific concentration of Kriya on the divine cave, on the body, develops the physical senses? Yes, it develops everything, because you accumulate energy within yourself. And then this same energy, again already in a conscious form, flows to all parts of the body. You actually form your consciousness. Your body is your consciousness. Your consciousness crystallizes in this body. Your body is the result of your consciousness. If one's consciousness is obscured, the body won't work properly. When you want to rid yourself of diseases, you start working on the mental plane, at the heart level, because that's where the cause of the disease is. When your consciousness is pure, your intentions are pure in your heart, and your thoughts are pure, then your body will be fine. But it takes a little bit more time because the body is inert. When you practice the science of Kriya, when you energize the body, naturally all the organs and systems receive prana, the life force. This is also the highest form of therapy, but it takes time, not because it doesn't work well, but because a person is not able to perceive it immediately. The mind is not ready. It is restless. It swings between believing and doubting, enjoying and disliking. If you concentrate your consciousness, your mind on one object, on one idea, you will solve the issue much faster. For instance, can you instantly heal a cut somewhere on your body? In this case, the answer is no. To be able to do it, we must develop our abilities, but it can be done very quickly. I used to advise people in martial arts back in the day, who were planning to compete in 3 or 2 weeks, but at that moment had significant injuries, bruises. I taught them the principles of body energization. I mean those guys who trained in martial arts. They literally recovered after a week. Not just healing body parts that had been battered, but recovering overall. I also included some elements of Yoga Nidra or Shavasana. The energization principles worked perfectly. Where there is prana, there is always healing. So when someone asks me how to heal their body, I tell them to use prana. Qigong masters, Qigong therapists in Chinese folk medicine transfer energy. It's prana, the life force, only they call it qi, the healing power, the qi healing power. It's the same thing. Where there's prana, there's always health, because prana contains all the elements for recovery. It's a different matter that people don't have the power of concentration to solve this issue quickly. Plainly, by practicing for a reasonably short time, a person can heal themselves. It is generally accepted that if someone practices 42 Kriyas, even without any special knowledge of philosophy or internal spiritual work, just by practicing the 42 Kriyas with basic levels of concentration, after 6 or 7 months of practicing, a few months give or take, they are healed. That person gets rid of their diseases. And I know that there's a lot of people who've gotten rid of serious illnesses that doctors refused to treat. That's what yoga does. Another question. There are various kinds of meditations, while walking, lying down, meditation to gong sounds and chanting, mantra meditation and so on. Will you clarify how they work, and does it make sense to practice them at all? I've already said that meditation is a state beyond the ego, a state where there are no thoughts. This is a state where all of your five senses, vision, hearing, scent, touch, and taste, shut down. Then meditation happens. Meditation beyond the mind, beyond the ego personality, beyond the body. Therefore, beyond the connection with the outside world. So when you turn on beautiful music and sit in a certain pose to meditate, you are not meditating, you are imitating. You try to meditate, but the music distracts you. Because the auditory link to the outer world is maintained. Say you're looking at a yantra, you're trying to meditate, but you're in the outside world because you're looking. Your visual center is active. It's not meditation, it's contemplation of a yantra. It's observation. It's a good awareness. It is a serene state of the physical self, of the human self, of the ego. That's normal. It's the so-called relaxation, a popular concept today. Beautiful music, incense, etc. It's about creating an environment where you're more or less comfortable, but it's not meditation. Contemplating music, sounds, or nature, it's a wonderful thing. Meditation is a state where there are no sounds, no light. There is no nature. All our attachments are gone. There is nothing. The only thing present is whatever is the focal point of your consciousness. In this case, I recommend focusing your consciousness on the presence of the higher self. You cannot know the higher self if you are connected to the outside world. Trying to comprehend the higher self through connections with the outside world requires many incarnations, many transformations. How can you, looking at this wall, looking at bad people, for example, if there are any bad people, looking at certain events, at all the hustling in this world, teach yourself to perceive all this as God? Can you do it? Do try. Here's a story someone told me. I meditated, I prayed, I was in such a good place. I was in a hurry to get to work. I got on public transport, someone stepped on my foot, got both my shoes and my trousers dirty. And that was when both my meditation and my love for this world ended. And this happens every day. Everything that happens is a manifestation of God. People should remember it. If nothing else, just remember it. Simply remember. But it is desirable to experience it as well. Truly experience it. It becomes possible when you have personally experienced it, but it requires meditation and a transformation of one's consciousness, and there's no point in trying to talk yourself into it. So what you're talking about is a good opportunity if you have the time, but if you do have the time, you are better off spending it on learning how to truly meditate. When you are able to see light beyond all colors, when you hear the sound above all sounds, when you experience the state of Sat Chit Anandam, when the truth is within you, when you are aware of your consciousness within yourself and enter a state of bliss, thanks to the presence of truth and the highest mind. That is what is called meditation. At very deep levels, this is samadhi. You dissolve in it. Therefore, there is a difference. Thank you, Master. Hari Om.